So today we're going to be continuing to take a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. Now on to episode 14 of the series. We saw a ginormous war in the last video that involved multiple top 5 powers in the world. And of course, if you haven't seen the last video, then you might want to go watch it because otherwise you're looking at a spoiler right now. But aside from that, today we're going to be looking at some more wars and maybe some more colonization. As we can see, last time Europe just got obliterated. It looks so much different than it did in the last episode. So once again, if you haven't seen that, then go watch it to figure out what's happening here. And yeah, if you guys do enjoy this video, make sure to show some support on it. Leaving a like and subscribing are greatly appreciated. And let's go ahead and jump straight back into the scenario. So a lot of you guys have been giving some really good suggestions, and some of them I can do, some of them I can't do. I know there was a couple suggestions having the blue team go out and like colonize different places, but I don't think the blue team is in a position to do that. And really the only countries that have actually gone overseas and colonized are the Lime team, they're number 1, and the Dutch team, which I think is like number 3 now. So you have to be a top 5 power to do that. I don't think the blue team is, but interestingly enough, another suggestion I saw was having them be some kind of secret that word. I can never say technological when I can't roll it off the tongue. But the suggestion was that have them be a super technologically advanced civilization. I kind of like that idea, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. So we'll wait that one out. But the blue team definitely is interesting. We can definitely do a lot of things with them. But yeah, keep those suggestions coming because some of them are really good. And if they're good enough, I usually put them into the video. Anyway, let's go ahead and start with our first war. So looking at the trade route map here, we can see that the trade routes are, I mean, they haven't really moved much, but we can see that the green team here, we all know their story. They're hungry for these trade routes and they're looking up north to maybe get some more areas. Now the issue is that these countries down here that are all a little bit weaker than it, they are all a part of an alliance. If I can click the right layer, there we go, the Circle Alliance. So it includes all 4 of these guys, and you know, I don't think they want those hands, so they're gonna go elsewhere. And elsewhere happens to be a country that used to be a part of themselves, this darker shade in green right here. Now is the main reason why I'm doing this because I don't like 2 greens next to each other? Maybe. This is a slight possibility. But anyway, the green team sets its forces on the border of the darker green country, and eventually they start moving in. They mostly stick to the bottom half of the country as this is the more populated area of the dark green team. And I just realized if you guys have like, if you're like slightly colorblind or maybe like have a bad monitor, you're not going to be able to see the difference between these 2 countries. Like I totally get it if you can't see the difference. That's why I'm doing this mostly. But the green country will send most of its troops, like I said, at the bottom of the country. And that's for 2 reasons. 1 being there's more population, and 2, their capital is right there. And they can snatch that up, they would likely win the war. Now, on the other side of things, the gold country also wants to expand. Now, I'm not going to give a reason for this because at this point, like, this country is going to collapse, so you might as well take advantage of it, right? The gold country previously lost some land to the yellow team and the Farmers Alliance thing happening over there, so they want some land back. The populace doesn't really have an opinion on this little event, so they are free just to kind of do what they want. I'm going to go ahead and fix up their border with the dark red team. I don't like how it looks. There's no lore to this. This is just me fixing the map and making it look slightly better. I guess you could say they like worked out some kind of land exchange thing. But with the gold team pushing into the dark green team, they're getting awfully close to their capital. The green team doesn't want that to happen, so they will just rapidly expand toward their capital and take the city at the cost of them losing a little bit of ground over here. Not too much though. A few major cities are taken back. On the topic of major cities, some of you guys wanted me to put in major cities, and that's a really good idea. The issue is I don't want to have too many yellow dots on the map. So what I would likely do is I would have them on a different layer, and just like when the countries go to war, then I bring in the major cities, because otherwise, you know, we're gonna have countries look like they have like some kind of weird polka dot disease. We don't want that. So with the capturing of their capital, I mean, this country was never very strong to begin with. I mean, they just had a lot of land, so really it's just more of pushing through open fields or whatever's over here in Russia. The gold team gets them a big old chunk of land, and kind of similar to how we saw provinces join the Farmers Alliance, some of these provinces within the green team go ahead and join some of their neighbors. So for example, this large one over here, and the yellow team is very long. Wow. Eventually a second entity will break away. This is like kind of a separatist movement, but also it's kind of the government that lost the capital just saying, oh yeah, we're rebels, we're breaking away and forming our own thing. But really what they're doing is they're just trying to preserve as much of the country as possible. So a lot of these provinces will end up going back to the main country. And if these aren't like the actual provinces, this is just me trying to shape out the border. That looks horrible. Anyway, looking at this peace treaty here, we can see that the dark green country is no longer in existence, and instead there is a large green blob in the center of our map. Kazakhstan Kazakhstan is looking sexy, except it's not Kazakhstan. This new country's capital will be pretty close to the trade routes, so as far south as they can put it. Of course, the yellow team and the gold team also got some land from this. The blue team did as well, and everyone is pretty happy with this. No one really liked that dark green country, and it's totally just not me putting propaganda into your heads, right? I'm not lying to you. I would never lie to you. So with this video, I have to make it kind of short. I'm not ending the video right now, obviously, but I have to make this video pretty short because I do not have a lot of time to put this on the internet. It's because my birthday is tomorrow and I have a lot of things that I have to do on my birthday. But when you're seeing this, you're looking at 17-year-old me right now, but it will be 18-year-old me, adult me, posting this on the internet. That's so weird. I'm gonna be an adult. I'm old. So when you're seeing this, if you're viewing this on Saturday, my birthday was yesterday, and I'm recording this on Thursday, so my birthday is tomorrow. That's also kind of weird to think about. Anyway, yeah, so this video will be a little bit shorter. Sorry about that. So now, in this point in the video, we're also going to keep our focus over in Asia. We're going to have the rest of Russia be discovered, and that's just because I think it's about time. Like, they obviously can make the gear to go up here and go into these like cold parts. They've probably had the gear to do so. I'm also going to discover these Arctic islands. I don't know when they were actually discovered, but I think it's appropriate to have them now. And yeah, once again, staying over here in the old world, the Lime team is having an amazing time with their shipping routes. They are making money right now. They, of course, are shipping things into the Red Country. They're shipping things all around into the Horn of Africa. They're, of course, going up into the Red Sea as well. They're trading with these African nations, are of course also going to their colony. I don't think they're going down here, but they are definitely having themselves a nice network moving around the Indian Ocean. And then, you know, there's these guys over here too, but they don't need to go in the water for that. But Curiosity, of course, is going to get to India, and they're going to want to figure out if you can go around Africa to get over to the new colonies discovered in America. Now that I think about it, if you wanted to ship something from Iberia to India, there is no Suez Canal, so people would already have been going around. I'm stupid. That's a pretty big plot point that I missed. Yikes. What I was going to be getting at is that they discovered Madagascar, but at this time Madagascar would have long been discovered. So yeah, they stumble into Madagascar, let's just say that, and they just discovered the island. I don't think they were going to colonize it, but they discover it. They also discover a series of other Indian Ocean islands. The dyslexia is strong with this one. And now they're looking at Asia and they're wondering if they can discover any more land when you're trading with Korea and Japan and China. Obviously, going through here, going down the Strait of Malacca and up into Southeast Asia, there, of course, you have the Hong Kong country. You also go around up through the Tibet Strait. What am I, stupid? The Taiwan Strait. You go ahead up the Chinese country, you go up to Korea, and of course, you have Japan over here. So, like, looking at their trade network, like, they're kind of cooking. They could definitely set up a series of colonies going down here through these islands, but what takes their interest the most is through the Strait of Malacca. So they start colonizing this area and set up a little trade town right here, and this thing will make them a ton of money as different countries are going to try to trade with the East Asian countries. Think about it. If you're like in the Middle East or Africa, you're most likely going to go down through the Persian Gulf into the Strait of Malacca and right through their little town / colony. You're going to trade for goods there. Those goods are going to be sent back to India, and they are making a ton of money. And the same thing works for Korea and Asia, you know, just the opposite. So this Lime Team country is becoming incredibly strong. Going over to Japan, they have themselves a little bit of an issue. That is, they are struggling to keep authority over these separate islands of Japan. That, of course, includes this one and this one. I don't know their names, and I will not be trying to figure out their names. And that's because I'm just going to forget them. So if you know the names, good for you. If not, then you're just like me. But these two little islands who already have kind of like a separatist kind of government, will just go ahead and split away from Japan. Now, they do need to be careful though, because Korea, as we know, once occupied Japan, and they probably don't want to get gobbled back up by them. So they do take note to that. Even some provinces on the main island will break away and form their own thing, but the Japanese government is not too worried about it. These areas weren't too largely used by them, mostly because their population came in through this area. So all their population density is like right in here. There really wasn't too many people living down there. But obviously for the future, these areas will become very important. They just don't know that now because obviously the future is not now just yet. Now over to Korea, they have a referendum. Yeah, that's right. A whole democratic thing happening on their island over here in Hokkaido. Is it called Hokkaido? Something like that, I think. I'm probably wrong. And the referendum says 50% stay with Korea, 50% form your own country. But there's also the factor of this tiny little nation right here. At the end of the day, it mostly comes down to the individual provinces over here. And Korea will actually openly allow some of these areas to form their own country or leave. leave. So a pretty large province down here will go ahead and join up with this country, and the rest will become an independent nation. Now, Korea does still hold on to a little bit of the island, mostly this area over here, but these island chains go over to the yellow team now, and we'll check back with them later. I'm not going to give them a capital just yet, but I do need to give these guys a capital. I think it's likely that they would all be kind of like on the water like this, so we'll do that. And now there's a few more countries over here in East Asia. However, I do want to mention the stability in this region is declining, and that's for multiple reasons. These guys are all extremely weak. Their governments are not doing much to aid their civilians, and overall it's kind of like anarchist through here. Like the most developed out of these countries is like this one and this one. And even the two Chinese countries are experiencing some rattling in their economies and stability as they have become fairly large and, you know, not really spread out population wise. Like all the people living in these two countries are right on this coast and like up through here. And you know, that is similar to how China is today, but back then it is harder to control a lot of areas like this. So we'll also check on them later. Maybe not in this video, but soon. And I know I just said that the green team is also another example. They just acquired all this land, but it's not very stable. Even over here, this isn't stable. The core of the green team started all the way over here. So really, like their population is like having to shift this way. A lot of people probably aren't down for that, so they just stay in their new countries. So the green team never had a lot of population in the first place, but of course you can move your military. They had a pretty strong military from the start, so they were able to do that. Anyway, now over to Europe, we have an interesting event happening. The brown team just got a lot of land from their war against the Purple Alliance, and they will continue to take land as they invade some of these Swiss countries. Now, what goal does this really achieve for them? I'm not too sure. There's really no, like, it's not necessary because they didn't do anything. They're not really going to give you too much in return, but they go ahead and wipe them off the map. Another interesting thing happening though is that the king of the Dutch team is going to grant his eldest son his own empire, quote unquote. Now this, I don't know if this ever happened in history. It probably did, but I think it would be an interesting thing to look at here. So specifically, he gives his son all of the land down in the southern part of the brown team, and he will also go ahead and guarantee their independence. So if anyone invades them, they're also essentially invading the Dutch team, which not a good idea. So we go ahead and get ourselves another new country in Europe, their capital being pretty close to the mainland country. Another thing we see the Dutch country doing is making a new colony, this time up in Iceland. What? Now what are the Dutch doing in Iceland? God knows. But they do take the entire island, and this becomes a part of the Dutch Empire, who is now probably right at the doorstep of passing up the red team in terms of strength. Of course, the red team got a huge buff in the last video. They gained a lot of land, so they did take a big step as well. The Dutch team took a big step as well, and they go ahead and come up right behind the red team in terms of power rankings. Now, here are the two teams I was just talking about, the red and the brown team. The lime team is probably like up here, so there is a distance between the two, and if the red team and the lime team were to somehow go to war, then the red team would lose. To the Americas now. Another country has just finally landed in America. Now before, it was only the Dutch country which was able to make a colony and explore this area, but another one, like I just said, has made its way over here, and that country is the dark cyan country in the south of Iberia. These guys land in Puerto Rico, discover the island, and also discover Hispaniola. So they go ahead and make their colonies in these two areas. They also go ahead and explore the rest of the island. And now the age of colonization has officially kicked off. There's going to be some other countries which are interested in exploring into this area, but as you can see by the map, there aren't very many countries which are capable of colonizing. Now, the Dark Cyan country is like, you know, slightly above average in terms of strength. Before the war, this white country up here probably would have been above average as well, but they kind of got curb stomped, so they didn't really, you know, recover from that just yet. The green team would be an intriguing country to talk about. I think they're probably around average or below average in strength, and none of these other countries over here are very capable of colonizing. Now if the yellow team wasn't like stuck in the Baltic Sea, they would be able to get out and colonize. The red team really wants to colonize, but their issue is they're stuck in the Mediterranean Sea, and you know, shipping all the way out through here is kind of a hassle. So they will instead just focus in on their own region and not worry about the Americas, because, you know, they're on friendly terms with the Dutch team, so they don't really need to worry about them getting ahead of them or anything. It's not like they're going to go to war anytime soon or anything like that. But as for now, these two countries will be the only ones colonizing America, and the discovery of this continent soon ramps up as the Dutch team goes up into Virginia, Maryland, in the DC area. The Dark Cyan country makes a landing in Cuba and Jamaica and fully discovers the Northern Caribbean islands. The Dutch team will mostly stick to the east coast as they go up into New York Island and up into Maine and around into Canada. Some exploration trips take place where some of the Great Lakes are discovered. A push from the southern area is made into the center area of the United States. However, they turn back soon because they don't really have the funding for this just yet. And like I said, they're going to mainly want to focus on the coast anyway. So they wrap around into the Louisiana area and eventually stop because, once again, funding. And a big old chunk of the United States has just been discovered. This, of course, leads to the expanding of colonies. The Dutch team gets a pretty large colony, and the Dark Cyan team will take the rest of Hispaniola. I just realized that there is a line separating Haiti and the Dominican Republic. I don't know why that's there. But yes, America. Time for our Britain update. The orange and blue countries unite together into one country. Surprising. Why did they do this? Because they were just attacked by the purple team. They have two capitals. They were essentially two nations united under one flag. And with their combined strength, they are slightly stronger than the purple team. So as they come up into their country, they are able to smash them right back. They might also be getting help from an outside force. But with a ton of troops that may not be theirs, they're able to take the purple team's capital, go into Wales, and knock up that area. That sounded weird. The Dutch country will go ahead and take some land from the purple team along the British coast. And there we go. Britain is essentially united. We'll check back in the next episode to see if that's still the case, but for now, the UK is united under one country, minus this area down here, but that doesn't matter because the Dutch country is doing its own thing. They are going on a rampage. See, like English, it's just every video. So Europe looks slightly different now. That's good. And the world map is getting a slightly more intriguing to look at. There's always something to look at on this map, and I just keep looking around like, wow, I need to do something there, and I need to do something here, and blah, 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 blah. So there is a lot of content to be made with this map. And I was going to do something else, but I did say that I don't have a lot of time to edit this video when I eventually do. So I am going to end it here today. It's probably like 15 minutes long. I do want to say thank you guys for watching, and if you did enjoy it, make sure to show some support by leaving a like, subscribing, sharing the video with anyone who might be interested, sharing the channel with anyone who might be interested. What else can you do? Leave suggestions in the comments for certain events that you might want to see take place. Leave suggestions for like other video ideas in general, and yeah, just any way you can interact, that helps. Engagement, very good. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. And of course, thank you to all the super fans. This includes Kylie Speaks Plays, German Edits, A Random Guy, Patrick Clauser, Life Lamau, JB Countryball 12, Friaza, Hammertoad 45, CTG Canada Flag, Poland Country Ball, Nevada Garbage Trucks, Yakko, DW Cool Dude, and Serminator. Thank you guys.